All right, and we are live. The last word with Lord Cognito and Ebontis. Friday evening campfire. What's going on, E? Just a regular day, right?
Yeah, nothing happened this week in the world of Destiny. Absolutely nothing.
Boring.
Yeah, completely. So no trailers, no news, no controversial topics. No, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but we had an awesome guest joining us today. So do what you do, sir. Let's bring this man into the campfire. Let's go.
No doubt. What is up, guys? Last Word Podcast here. And today, we are back in front of the Destiny campfire for some more looter-shooter discussion. I'm extremely excited about our special guest.
So you had to do it to me.
I had to do it to you. So we gonna get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord who is not only one of the coolest Titans and most down-to-earth YouTubers in real life, but his passion for the improvement of the Destiny franchise is truly unmatched. Whether it be his detailed weapon and raid guides or informative commentary, all done with outstanding production values.
Damn.
Introducing, you ain't finished. Introducing the creator and host of the KackisHD YouTube channel and co-host of the Real Gamer Hour podcast. My fellow UFC brethren, Lord of Twitter memes, and with Chick Kackis, the most creative promoter of advanced GG. Live from Alberta, Canada, and making his return at the realm of the last word. My man, Lord Rick Kackis. How you doing, sir? Gotta bring you in right.
I'm doing well, dude. I gotta get you to do my intros normally. Damn.
Just be like, all right, got your 10-second outsourcing fee. Check. All right, sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly,
what's
dude.
going on, bro?
How you been,
I'm
man?
doing well. I'm glad to be back. And yeah, dude, it's been wild week for Destiny, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Absolutely, man. So much going on, man. Good to see you. So I know you said you've been playing a little bit of Genshin in there, but are we back to now getting into full time? I know there's been a lot of Postmaster controversy with you lately. So.
I don't want to talk about that. Dude, I literally was just like, hey, they should fix the Postmaster. They should make it so that it shouldn't, a higher rarity item shouldn't get pushed out by a lower rarity item. And what I learned is, no, I'm an idiot. How dare you just use a third-party app after every activity? What are you, dumb? Like, just after every activity, go to the tower. That's normal. That's not an issue, all right? It's just not an issue.
How dare you demand stuff in game, sir? How dare you?
Fixing the Postmaster would hurt. I never actually got an answer on that because the answer is nobody.
Exactly.
But it's like, oh, if they fix the Postmaster, then all the other glitches will run wild in the game. It's like, bro, they can do more than one thing at once. Like, I'm sure Bungie could. It's like, no, guys, we fixed the Postmaster, so you know what? Beyond Light delayed again. I can't. Sorry, like, it was just the only option.
It's Rick's fault. We had to delay it to
my fault,
June.
dude.
It's totally his fault. Postmaster.
It's my fault.
No, I mean, I live in that state with like either full characters or full Postmaster constantly. And then with Umbor engrams this season especially, it's been awful. So no,
because they give shaders too, and they just like really fill that up. And like what happened to me is I missed one strike chest. Mm-hmm. I got stuck in a loading zone and missed it, and it was like 4 like blues, legendary, and an umbral, and then of course it drops the tokens and the planetary resources, which if you don't collect them, they go to your Postmaster. So it's like. Yeah, no, Bungie, 100%. Push out my 10 Ascendant shards and introduce, 2 dust-like shards. That's what I really want to happen.
The hierarchy you're looking for.
Yeah. But again, it's like, people need to understand, it's not about me. I'll get my shards back. If you're a new player and you're just like grinding strikes and you don't know about Dim, like you just got it from the Xbox Game Pass, you see a legendary, you know it's going to the Postmaster, you don't know it's going to get pushed out by the blues you missed. Like, I feel like those are the people getting screwed. And it's like, one bad experience can ruin. Like, if you're missing an exotic drop or lose something important as a new player, you're going to be like, I'm gone. Like, I'm out of here.
Yep.
That's a good point, man. He ain't lying.
No, it's like, I mean, new players going in Beyond Light, we talked about this previously. The story is going to be a little weird if they go play Forsaken and be like, who's this Cade dude we see for like 5 seconds? New players are going to be in a weird space. They do have Fast and Furious Man coming in, which will be good. They actually get to spend some time on one of our newish destinations that we get to see, but I am kind of curious to see how the new player experience is for Beyond Light. At least we get to go see what the Shaha experience is going to be when we get in there, so that'll be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
But
man.
no, like for this week, we had so much stuff come in And I swear it was just like, oh, you thought this was it? Here's an awesome trailer with an awesome song that nobody could probably play for copyright strike reasons, but like there was way too much fun. But
the real reason Beyond Light got delayed is because Bungie had to make like 45 trailers for this expansion. Like honestly, it's like gear trailer, story trailer, another story trailer, launch trailer, pre-launch trailer. It's like, bro,
is there anything we don't know about the game? Have they just played it all for us at this point, or
I
a little bit? But we'll cover that once we get there. But biggest thing we got was the ViDoc. That's what started everything. And I just kind of wanted to get your guys, like, what was like a couple big standouts before we're going to go through some pieces of it? What were some huge surprises? And spoiler warning for anybody watching this or listening, everything's on the table from the ViDoc. So if you're going spoiler free at this point, you might want to duck out now because it's all on the table. So just FYI. But for both you and Rick, you get to go first. Seriously, what stood out from the ViDoc to you? What's got you the most hyped so far?
What you feeling, Rick? What's going on?
Man, to be honest, like I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit. Like I felt like the ViDoc, while it was awesome, like if you were someone who was paying attention to the previous trailers and all the TWABs and stuff, like I was, like there wasn't necessarily any huge new information in the ViDoc, aside from the Season of the Hunt stuff. Like they really didn't talk about that at all until the ViDoc, and you almost kind of forget that like Beyond Light is also launching alongside at like a $10 still like season, and then you'll have these Hive, not cryptoliths, whatever they're called, kind of cryptoliths.
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
And they either come down or they spawn up from the ground, and then there's like a Hive boss and stuff. But the interesting part is like that's really all they revealed, and it might be as simplistic as that. Like if we think back to Season of the Undying, it was pretty simplistic. You had the Vex Offensive.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. The Vex Offensive was the activity, and it had some gear associated with it, and that was pretty much it.
Right.
This time we kind of have the same thing with those Hive structures, but the interesting part is like you have this seasonal quest that you start, and that's it. Like it starts on the 17th, I believe, and unlike all these other seasons, you know, you have the season and it goes away. This time, apparently, you're just gonna be able to do that whenever. So like. You can go back potentially in like you can get into Destiny 2 in June, buy Season of the Hunt maybe, and then start doing cryptoliths.
Yeah, I never actually thought about the buying of seasons because they said
that's the question.
Yeah,
you can do it later, but can you buy an old season?
That'd be weird.
That is a good question.
It would be weird.
Yeah, because I mean, by icons like Iron Banner's everybody, Dawning's everybody, but specifically those like the Aldrin icon, basically. Those are like the season mission begins, the Wrathborn hunt begins. Those specifically are, and you're like, do you? And again, it's also you have the tie to the artifact as well, and the reward that's got that same icon. It's like you're not going to go buy an old artifact because that's going to stay. But how do you kick off the Wrathborn missions in June or something? That's
potentially you can just like. So the interesting thing is if you look at the Season of the Hunt stuff, it looks like it's almost like a new public event. Like it's just kind of happening in the world. It's not like its own activity similar to Vex Offensive. So maybe, it's just like literally they're happening all year long, and you have to maybe buy it this season. And when you buy it, you get the loot associated with it, right?
Probably.
And you can like earn loot drops. So you can still participate, but you won't earn like the exclusive loot for it. Potentially. Like, is that, I don't know. It's a little confusing, to be honest.
It is a little confusing. I mean, I'm curious about that. Like, because before we had like the a la carte kind of thing going on, stuff like that. So it is going to be interesting to see how it's handled. What I want to ask you, Rick, as far as like narratively stuff, anything narratively with the trailer that hits you, specifically, positively or negatively.
Well, again, we kind of knew Aldrin was coming back from a while ago, because like the symbol shown in a triumph screen was the symbol on Aldrin all the time. But yeah, he's like for sure back, which is an interesting one. People keep saying like, oh, he's the Crow now. He doesn't remember who he is. And I'm like, I'll jog his memory with, to the back of his head with a falling guillotine. Like I don't care. Like, that's a great sob story, dude. You still got my Glock to the back of your head, dude.
Thanks for killing my Hunter Vanguard.
Sir Rick has no chill with Aldrin. None.
No chill with Aldrin.
Yeah, like, come on, dude. Boo-hoo. Yeah, boo-hoo. Yeah, sorry. That's too bad, dude. But, like, no, it is kind of interesting that they're bringing him back. because, especially with the relationship with Marasov, who's also still alive, and had a big part in Forsaken to play, and we talked to her. So that relationship could be interesting. It's narratively bringing him back. I did think it was really funny where like Osiris is like this super powerful warlock.
See,
and then Knight just like knocks him down. It's like, okay.
Y'all know I'm a warlock. Y'all know how I feel about Osiris and the disrespect.
Osiris got just like smacked by a knight and just like bam.
I ain't even
He literally got backhanded and he's like collapsed. He's like,
and then the gun fell to the side, and then somebody did my man dirty. They put the life alert on the bottom.
Oh God!
I said, how they gonna do my man like that?
That's a good one.
But for Aldrin, I'm gonna let it slide. Because I wanted to see Aldrin go by.
So I was actually gonna ask you guys a question. Would you have rather? This is the point where how much stuff do people want to see in trailers? And this is always the question of what would you like to see? And it's the toss up of, I know we have data miners and stuff like that. So part of it I understand is like on day one, some data miner is going to get in there. And it's like, if you go through the story mission, you're probably going to see it fast anyway. But I would much rather go through that little cinematic moment, which looks to be in the Hive Shrine of Oryx or whatever that place is called, where that strike used to be. Right. And it looks like he's sitting up there and you're like, oh, it's Osiris. You're talking to him for a second. He gets knocked down in game. To actually see Aldrin walk out, for me, would have probably been better. It's like, I lost my shit in the middle of the trailer.
Yeah.
Like I did. I lost it in the middle of that. But in game, I don't feel like we get that many moments in game anymore because they're all done in marketing.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of curious if you guys cared, if you'd like to see it held, or kind of get what they're doing.
The interesting thing is your opinion is objectively the wrong marketing approach. And
I know.
I hate
it. I get that. Yeah.
It's I'm not saying that you're necessarily like, well, you are wrong in terms of the marketing. It was just a weird thing. No, like I'm not trying to be mean. Like I almost have the same opinion, but I remember there was a study done on movie trailers, right? And it's the same thing. You watch an Avengers trailer and it basically gives away the entire movie, or it leaves maybe some stuff out. But a lot of trailers, it's like 2 minutes and 50 seconds and it gives the entire plot. But they've done studies and they realize that when people know more going into a movie, they like it better. Like they're more likely to see a movie they know more about. If it's very ambiguous and confusing and secretive, that often doesn't work. So the same thing would be true for these type of gameplay trailers, right? Where it's actually better for them from a marketing standpoint to reveal more stuff.
Right.
Which of course is going to piss people off, but it's just like the reality of just, I guess, how that works.
Yeah, I mean, you make a valid point. I mean, I definitely understand where he's coming from because, from we're the hardcore, right? We love to have those, you seen when such a, I'm saying? Like those moments are insane. But you're also right, Rick. Like I understand it's this balance, right? They want to market the game. They want to get people hyped for this DLC, to get people to pre-order or whatever it is. And like you said, it must be research data that's showing, look, even if you give that Aldrin tease or whatever it is, right? As amazing as that would have been in game and we would have knocked our socks off, that will now get a person who may have stepped away from Destiny and say, oh yeah, I remember that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Into it. And then it builds the hype. So it's this fine line that they got to walk. And I definitely feel for my man E because I know where he's coming from. But from a marketing standpoint, it was like, because remember E, me and you had this discussion with Cage Death, right?
Forsaken, yeah, similar thing.
We was like, damn, they blew it up.
Like it was a huge deal, but everybody's going to want to log in to see what happens. So it's like, it's a marketing piece.
Again, that's a perfect example. Could you imagine if they didn't reveal that and then just like you watched Cade die at the first part of Forsaken, you were like, oh my God, dude, that would be the most shocking moment of Destiny history, honestly. Yeah. But they used it in all the marketing stuff because now it's motivating people to get in there and avenge Cade and stuff like that. Like, so it is kind of like an interesting thing is how much they reveal. I mean, like the raid, they're revealing almost nothing. There's been a few snippets
there's like
of
a
gameplay.
Landing zone and like a walkthrough because there's only a few places with like 6 people I've seen in the trailer. But like somebody who I was talking to in chat, because I was talking about this the other night too, and they said if they want to get hype for Aldrin, but for me, you also see like he's the one dealing with Osiris. He's standing there next to Spider. He's walking you through the tunnels. Like they laid out everything. If they could have just said, hey, Shadow of the Hunt, bringing back characters from the past, and you see like a glimpse of him do something to know that he's coming, as opposed to he's here, and you're like, everything, would have been kind of give a little more question, but
like did they have to show the cinematic of him
right
coming out?
That's a good point.
could they have just showed like him turn around and just a quick of his face and then end it?
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah, you could argue that would be good too, and it would potentially be a little bit more hype behind it. Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, look, man, the ViDoc, I was feeling it, man. Like for me, it was more of a payoff. To, like we've always complained, Bungie has all these loose threads that that goes nowhere, and so it was almost overwhelming because in the beginning it was like, all right, Drifter, the Stranger, whatever.
Oh, dude, they all look so awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, like everybody rocking in the beginning, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Then you got the Aramis thing going on. We all know Aramis is a damn sub boss. We already know what's going on, but
so sad.
Story boss.
Yeah, story boss. You already know what we gonna get him out of it. But I did think it was cool, the motivations, riling up the fallen. Look, we're gonna take this power. We're gonna, we've been betrayed by the Traveler kind of deal. I felt that aspect. Obviously, we didn't even get Varix too much in this one. But the thing that was dope was, obviously, I'm gonna be real. Y'all know I'm a big Osiris Warlock fanboy. I didn't think I was seeing him this expansion. So when I did see him, and I was like, oh, he's a major part. I'm like, he's dealing with Hive. It threw me off. You know what I'm saying? Now I ain't like my man get slapped the way he got slapped. You know what I'm saying? It was disrespectful. It was funny as hell. I got hold of L on that one.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this. Osiris may have got slapped. Whatever happens to Zavala in the end, it's not gonna be pretty. So whatever happens to Zavala is probably not gonna be great if he ever goes down.
The thing that was crazy for me was that not only do you have all that going on, he's actually, there was a screenshot of him. First of all, you got two Cabal with Zavala. So
Osiris.
I think that might be a little overblown because he's with Osiris. They could just be in a simulation. Like
it's possible. It's possible.
Well, I guess Mercury's going away. Yep. But like, I mean, that's how I took it. I was like, maybe he like meets them in a simulation or something. I don't know how that works. Or maybe that's with Callus. Callus's boys, and he's like, something's up.
We got to see, right? We got to see, is it Red Legion? Is it regular?
It was interesting that like in the Luke Smith interview, he said that Beyond Light is taking Destiny 2 back to kind of where it was originally intended. He says that. And like, and Europa was one of the earliest concept arts. And now it's like, okay, if this is like Bungie's finally like, you know what? There's no Activision. We can finally execute our vision for like what I mean. The Crow was the original kind of character you saw in the
Cosmodrome.
In the Cosmodrome, him as the Crow in like the teaser before it ever came out. So it's like they're kind of going back to what they were, and so now it's like, okay, every old piece of concept art you gotta, and like old what was it supposed to be is now like, oh, hold on, like this is quite interesting.
Oh, it's awesome, and the thing I like about it is, again, we got all these. I didn't expect the sheer amount of impactful characters all being involved. The way it's been prior has been, you just deal with one or two and that's it. Now it's like all these threads going on. So I want to see how they pay that off. So for me, the narrative part was lit. The Deep Stone Crypt, I definitely want to know what's going on with that because that's where the exos are made. So that was cool. We got a little bit more on the Stasis thing, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was solid. I thought it was really solid. We're going to talk about Season of the Hunt and all that good stuff. But like I know because I did a live reaction. I think you waited because you was at work.
I posted my live reaction because I was at work, and of course they've been started dropping these trailers earlier and earlier in the morning. I'm like, I do work morning. I'm like,
oh my gosh,
I'm sitting here like 9 a.m. I'm sitting at work. I'm like, I really want to go home, but I closed Twitter, shut my phone down until I came home, and I was like, haven't seen anything.
Smart.
And I was going through, and I was like, a couple big ones. For one, it was the Cabal sitting there with like Osiris and Zavala. I was like, I just need to understand how this situation is happening. As you said, is it a simulation? Yeah. Are they working with them in some way? Zavala and Osiris, like Osiris got kicked out.
And that relationship, exactly. With him kicked out the tower, so those two ain't cool. So
I really do think it could be like a Callus situation. Like we're kind of tight with those Cabal. They don't fight us when we load up there. You know what I'm saying?
But were they Red Legion though? That's the thing. Was it regular Cabal? Is it because remember, Red Legion is a very specific faction for them. Now that's the thing. Like, and it's so much going on. I got so much questions, man. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We work with the Fallen all the time. Like Mithrax, Varix. There's a bunch of Fallen allies because like every faction has kind of their own, except for the Hive, who just want to kill everything basically. But like, the Fallen are not purely bad, and the Cabal kind of aren't purely bad either. They're just kind of there for the glory and war type of thing.
Yeah, well, they followed, what was it? They followed like the Shield Brothers distress signal to kind of us, right? I remember from like Destiny 1, something like
Essentially,
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
But yeah, I was gonna say for me, like it was really cool to see like Elsie or the stranger, or whatever you want to call her. She was kind of a bit of a beast in the trailer, just like jumping around, cloaking and everything. She was working.
She's getting busy.
But for me, like when I saw Eris, like, and then in the trailer, the recent trailers, well, when she pops the wall, when she's rolling a little ball on her arm, and when she's actually mid-combat, she's just been like a storyteller for us, a standing figure, not moving. To finally see her mid-combat action, and be like, dude, she's still got her chops on her. It's like,
she's getting busy.
Yeah, she's working.
The Drifter does nothing in the trailer, just
he
like
did
guys.
He still just does his talking.
Yeah.
And then we got to see Aramis literally punch the servitor to really get deep into their trying to, cut their ties with the servitors, which is kind of like their lifeblood and stuff like that.
They're dependent on them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like that's a symbolic moment for a fallen, right?
Yeah, that's why they all kind of freaked out, because that's kind of their source of their lifeblood, basically. So that was legit. And then, of course, for me, it was just like when they showed Aldrin, for me, it was hype just because I was like, they're finally bringing him in. We finally get to see what's going on, because it's been 2 years. 2 years finally seeing some of this stuff pay off, which is really, really cool. So I was like, as for like Stasis powers and Varix and the Stranger and Aramis, like we've kind of seen, as you said, about 50 trailers going into this thing. But yeah, those couple big ones. And then I was going to say my last one was Season of the Hunt. The fact that they said the words Xivu Arath as in the third, third like hive god. So I mean, you had all Oryx we killed. Savathun's still doing her crazy, powerful death battery, setting up the Dominoes thing they basically said in the trailer. And now we're getting some hint of Xivu Arath getting in the mix too. So building to 2021's like expansion, that seems like the big one.
Yeah, how many of these hive gods do we got to kill though? Like at some point,
all of them.
Dude, honestly, at some point I'd be like, you know what? It's not worth it. Like I'm chill.
You don't want to kill Zol in a strike again?
Yeah, like honestly though, like so Crota, I know he's not like kind of a god, but Crota, then Oryx comes and controls all the Taken, and we're like, peace, dude, kill him, and then Zol, and then starts with an N.
Nokris?
Nokris. He's not. Is he not? He's not really quite god level, but almost.
Yeah. He's like a necromancer.
Like, almost, dude.
Almost. Yeah. He's beast.
So again, it's like the extended god family, and it's like, dude. I mean, no wonder. First of all, no wonder they're mad at us.
Yeah,
we're just chopping that family tree down left and right.
We kill Oryx's daughters. Like we wrecked
Oryx's daughters. Yeah, but in fairness, they were like right next to Oryx.
Yeah.
Right before he showed up.
So company.
Like,
you got to be careful who you hang out with. That's just what that is.
Yeah. At some point, like, is it worth it? Is it worth it to take? What are they trying to do? Even take over Earth? I guess kill the Traveler.
Yeah, man,
I guess that's the source of the light versus the darkness. And if they're all from like the deep and the source of the darkness, maybe. But again, hopefully now as we're finally getting to see some of these stories, we actually get to see what that's all about.
The universe is pretty, I don't know, big. Like they could just go somewhere else. Like I'd be like, dude, we're losing a lot of guys here. Like, why don't we just yeet off to some other undiscovered planet? And we'll just chill there. Like we don't have to mess with these guardians anymore.
These guardians seem weirdly powerful. I don't know why. They just don't want to die.
Yeah, literally, dude.
Yeah, but the thing I think that threw me off with the whole what is it? I can't pronounce that damn name. You're gonna help me every time. Xivu, whatever the hell.
Xivu Arath?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the sister.
The sister, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think we would get that story beat at all, to be honest, especially in Beyond Light. So my thing was, and the way they making it seem is like the ambitions of this sister is different from Savathun. So that's another.
She's the god of war for them, basically.
Right. It was interesting. I didn't expect that story to. So again, it's so much. My only concern, if I got to nitpick, get right.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say my only concern, if I got to nitpick, is there's so many people going on. There's so much threads going on. How do they pay this off? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously this campaign, it looked like it's gonna be rocking. Let's see how long it is. But again, my only nervousness is, again, classic Bungie. You know, we just want to make sure we get proper payoffs for certain things. Do I expect everything to conclude? No. But I would like it done cohesively and stuff that makes sense instead of somebody just making a cameo appearance and then you don't see them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want it built right. And that's my only concern. But go ahead, Rick.
Well, I was just going to say, like, okay, so the God of War isn't even around yet. Like, what are the other people have been doing? Seems like war to me. Like, what? This one's going to be mega war. It's like, dude, we literally have already been warring with the Hive constantly. But it's like, now the God of War is here for more war. It's like, I don't know. I'd like to see... the interesting thing is like, what? So now we embrace the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so why do you still want to kill us if you're on the darkness side? I mean, I guess, yeah, the Hive just need to kill everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. It's interesting.
It's interesting, right?
The payoff seems to be this Witch Queen and then Lightfall.
Lightfall.
And
right.
it shows the big pyramid and it shows the sphere, the tower behind it.
Yeah.
So it's like basically the pyramid ships getting to Earth, getting to the Traveler.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel what you're saying. You're making a good point because like, in a sense, they are confirming we're going to embrace the darkness and use this against them, right? So again, to Rick's point, if we are doing that action, right, then why are the rest of them beefing with us?
No, we're basically joining with them in some regard.
Right. So the vibe I also get is they kind of allude to factions in a sense of some races saying, hey, I don't know. Some races like, yo, we should embrace it. You see that exchange between Zavala and Eris, like, Zavala's like, nah, fam, like, we're not going over it. She's like, no, we need to see what's going on. So I think that my guess is that's what they're trying to set up, this whole, all the different races and all the different groups having different motivations as to whether accepted or not. What do you think, Ian?
I mean, shout out to some of the lore people who are a little smarter than me on this in my chat. I mean, they're basically talking about. There
saying they like Infinity War. It's going down.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what it seems like we're getting to with Savathun. That was the thing when we had Bife actually on the show, was the fact that I was wondering, because like it seemed logical with the Witch Queen, like we get a new destination, but it's also for their resources. Reusing the Dreadnought seemed like a logical thing as well. Right. So I wondered honestly when that might be coming. And he said, we probably will never see Savathun because she's the trickster and she's going to find some way to be a proxy to everything that we're doing. So she's never directly involved. And we know she's going to be involved now in the fact that we actually have Zuvarath, her sister, building up to this as well for over the course of probably all the seasons. Zuvarath is going to be somehow tied to these things of what we're doing. I mean, the whole Infinity War, everything coming together. I honestly wonder how Witch Queen is going to handle everything that happens in there, and then how it can escalate from Savathun, who we've been building to for so long. What do you do in Lightfall that makes it even bigger than the Witch Queen? That's, I guess, the question, unless we finally meet the Veil. But I still don't.
If anything, it should be that, right?
Yeah. But I was like, is that how they go into, is that when they finally just take the drop off the 2 or do a D3? Is that how they lead into that? Or is that when they ever build into what's next is like a new race? I hope that this is the time where I wonder, it's like at the end of year 9, is this the point where they're like, they're going to hang up the Bungie or the Destiny like robe on the wall and just leave it there? Or is that where they're like, cash cow's still going, we're going to keep going? I guess we'll just have to see. But
it's such a big and ever evolving game. It really doesn't seem like they have plans like stop supporting it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They are making a new game. So like they're trying to branch out and do multiple things at once, Bungie. Yep. But like you can't give up. I don't think you can ever really give up on Destiny, especially now that they have their own creative control and they can do what they want with it. They might, who knows, they may do some spin-offs. It might be a Destiny Warzone coming at some point. Destiny Battle Royale. Who knows, right?
Hey, if the hardware gets there, then it might be able to handle 50 supers at once. But until then,
yeah. Well,
last point I thought was interesting was I love when I looked at the roadmap. We saw this Wrathborn hunts, and it looks like we're definitely taking place on the Dreaming City, right? So, that I want to see if we get some payoff there, because it was interesting to me that the Dreaming City wasn't removed from, obviously, into the content vault. It's still going to be a part of the expansion. So I want to see what they do there. Obviously, we got the Uldren, we got the Marasov things, we got the Cursed. We got a lot of things that got to get paid off. Yep. And I want to see how they use that space from Beyond Light going forward. So that's where I'm at with it, too. But yeah. Got a roadmap of, the hype train's going, man.
And it goes till February, which I guess answers like, what normally they launch that other season in December. Now it's going to launch in February, which so what is it? The other one usually launches in March. So if they're pushing that back, probably be early February, March, like maybe we have a launch in like April or May instead of June.
Yeah.
But then you got to fit one more in still. So maybe end of April, and then you have one in like August or July.
Yeah, I was like, do they start shortening like the post Beyond Light seasons? Are those a little more condensed to get back to their cycle? If they're trying to do it again, I don't know.
It's interesting. Like, yeah, will the to be condensed, and so we have the normal like June launch for the normal summer shenanigans, or instead of a June, like a later June or even an August launch, and they're all a little bit shorter, which honestly would be better. It would just be more packed with content, right?
Yep. I just wonder what that's going to do to them on like their dev cycle too. Is like they're looking to build towards Witch Queen, which is when we're looking at things like crossplay and all that stuff coming up. And like if they try and condense that window from like November to get back to September, it seems tight for them as, development's not easy anymore.
No, but the seasons are usually a bit lighter. And it seems like now especially they may be, I don't want to say even lighter, but like, with the season of the hunt seems you just have these public events and probably a few things of loot, and that's kind of it. So
it's a good question. It's a good question, right? Because at the end of the day, that's where the delay, going in had to affect the development of the next following 2 annual, passes or whatever. So it's a good question. Does it get shorter? Does it get longer?
I was speculating that potentially they just get rid of one of the seasons and just have 2 more condensed seasons.
Yeah.
Now that would kind of screw up a lot of the timing and screw up the infusion caps, right? Because it's like supposed to go a certain amount, but you get rid of one. How are you going to do that? That's the interesting part. Or they just skip one and say, season 13, 14, and then Witch Queen 16, and we're skipping 15. Too bad. I don't know. It's gonna. I don't. I think most likely they're gonna condense them, but it could be an interesting move.
The condensing wouldn't be bad because there's plenty of times in any of the past year when it's like, could we take some weeks out of this? Yeah, like get them out of here. We don't need like the 4th Iron Banner. I'm good.
But then this season when they have like 3 weeks of nothing, and then they have the Halloween event go live and the interference mission finally complete on the same day.
Week. Yeah,
and
why?
And it's like the reason why is because obviously they have like certain update chunks and they do everything in one thing, but it's like, guys, 100%. The interference mission should have come like 2 weeks earlier or whatever.
Agreed.
So everyone can get hyped about that. And then you have the Halloween event as its own thing.
Agreed.
But yeah.
And then we still have to allude to this, I don't know, I don't want to call it like an almighty event, but some type of season ending event that got to transition into, to what you call Arrival. So, and end Arrivals into Beyond Light. So that's another thing. I feel for them because I know they didn't anticipate that delay. And now they have to kind of scramble and then still get things lined up. But yeah, there's still some payoffs that need to happen. So I'm curious to see how they handle that and then transition in. But we got a lot of TWAB, some stuff to get into, man. Get to an E.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Is there anything else from the ViDoc that you guys like were hyped about? Anything that you guys saw? I like the audio stuff was cool. As like that's always stuff you don't think as much about, but when we're playing, I'm always just like, if you take a second, like, how does this sound?
Breast pump.
Yeah, breast pump raid boss. Let's go, baby.
Shout out to that.
That was funny. It sounded cool though. It was just like, and they had that weird giant long like horn looking thing that she's like rolling a slinky on. I'm like, the way people come up with sounds, like audio engineers are like really, really out of the box thinkers. We did get confirmation of Double Buddy. So we got the No Time to Explain. Yeah, you and your Warlock double arc buddy are gonna have a little fun. Yeah,
get my getaway artists and my joint, you know what I'm saying? Got the gangs, the goonies with me.
Yeah, people who are solo players can't complain about not having a fire team now. Just make your own. Just make your own with the 2 buddies, Yeah, probably more useful than having half the fire teams out there, honestly.
All right. The blueberry disrespect. The blueberry disrespect.
Hey, come on. I played certain strikes, and I'm like,
corrupted strike.
My gosh.
And sadly, the corrupted strike is still going to be there. So,
I'll back out. I'll back out when I see that one. With blueberries, they don't know what they're doing? Oh, no.
I throw it directly at them, and they hold it, and then they're like, and then they just like throw it into the distance, and you're like, all right.
So I'll just do it myself. It's fine.
So let me ask Rick this, because, this is rare to E. I got 2 Titans around me, so I got to ask the Titans. How are we feeling about these exotics that you saw in the trailer? Like, are you hyped?
The one that makes the overshield?
Yeah, where you at? Where the Titans at?
Busted as crap, dude. What the hell? Busted as dude, how, like, apparently, I think there's probably going to be some sort of way to balance, obviously. There was some speculation. I was saying originally, okay, so if it replaces your class ability, does having stuff that affects the cooldown of your class ability then affect the cooldown of that? Good or point. Is it just like it recharges in 20 or 30 seconds or 20 seconds no matter what? And so your was it for Titan? Resilience wouldn't matter.
Right.
It's going to be very interesting, but like just for the fact that it's like, okay, just pop it, come around a corner, win that gunfight.
Bro.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing is though,
the Crucible.
well, you can hear it, and you got a big animation. So if you hear it, move. Like,
It's like, don't go around that corner. Give him a minute.
It's like when you hear a golden gun activate, I'm just gonna like see ya. I'm not gone. Like I'm not gonna deal with this. But yeah, it seems cracked. A lot of the exotics seem really good. The one for the Warlock that increases burn damage, and I think it just said increased burn damage period, which like, okay, remember when that happened, Viking Funeral in D1?
Yeah.
That like, so grenades are going to be affected by that too. And I think it also said like if you kill an enemy with burn, it recharges faster or whatever. And again,
some
that
type
affects
of synergy. Yeah.
Or your melee recharges faster. But again, like that affects multiple things. You throw a solar grenade, sunspot grenade or whatever, that causes a burning effect. So that's also going to affect it. And then if you're on bottom tree Dawn Blade, that's a pretty good PvE subclass. So now that's doing more damage.
More damage and continually, because the more kills you get, it extends the...
Exactly. I mean, that's already seeing play. And now you're going to do more damage? Like, that's interesting.
I will say, like, the poison grips, the necrotic grips or whatever, I knew that's exactly what that was. Like, you get a group of low-level ads, you punch one, and just as they die, it's just going to trickle and chain that damage to everybody.
That impressed me way more than I thought.
That's an interesting one. And then, of course, obviously giving Hunters Blink, which is the worst idea ever. Like,
you can't complain, Titans. Y'all can't complain. The Hunters need this.
We're going to need our shield because they're going to literally dodge next to us, slow us down, and we're going to have to take all those shots because we can't move.
Don't need any more help, dude. Like... If I see
Sinister, don't unsubscribe to Kackis. I know he's talking slanderous. Continue.
Listen, if I see one more hunter, in the Crucible, all that happens, you aim at a hunter, aim at them for 2 seconds, they just spam jump. And then they convince themselves, they're like, wow, bro, I smashed that space bar, such high skill gap, I'm so skilled. It's like, no, dude, you're just a wimp. No, I know you're supposed to do that. I'm just a salty ass Titan who just got to look up all the time. I'm like, yep, there you go. All right.
I respect it though. I respect it.
I'm just salty honestly because that looks extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Like even Blink, you have more of a like trail, right? You blink here and it kind of shows a little bit of a
outline.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can kind of track it better. This seemed like it was like literally like gone and it appeared somewhere else.
Facts.
And that's going to be really hard to track.
Yes.
And so even like just sideways in a gunfight, you're getting shot at, boom, now I'm over here, I keep shooting you, and that could be a really interesting one. Can't wait till that's disabled 3 days after the expansion comes out.
Also, like, you have one like that for hunters, and I guess that's how they balance it out, because that one seems so good. And then you have the one that nobody can pronounce, Arthurus's Embracer, however you say that thing.
Yeah, whatever.
With the double bouncing throwing knife. I'm like, that is literally just a montage thing. I still do not see the purpose in that.
No,
but I guess
I'm going to interrupt.
Okay.
Let's get it.
So, on the website, the description is bigger than what was on the trailer.
Really? What did they say?
So, this is why you got to watch my content. You know what I'm saying?
Rick Kackis, baby. Let's go.
Here, look at the rapid precision hits.
So that's the thing that makes it rapid precision hits increase weapon damage. And it's like, wait a second, that is a huge deal.
That's a huge deal.
Rapid precision hits increase weapon damage. And then just the precision knife bouncing or the knife bouncing is just like a little extra thrown on.
Yeah, on top of it.
And that blows my mind because it's like, okay, if I'm using an auto rifle, will that maybe make it one shot less to kill or something? If I have a scout rifle, will that make a 4-shot kill, a 3-shot kill?
Right.
Probably not, because that would be extremely powerful. A fast-firing auto rifle where it takes like 10 headshots to kill, that maybe would be reduced. But then it's like, okay, in a PvE scenario, like, hold on. And also, how... like, is it ascending like this, or is it just like one tier? So it's like, hey, you land 5% shots, 10% more damage, flat plateau after that.
Right.
If it ramps, dude, Thunderlord is going to be the next meta for damage, or, a fast-firing sniper. Okay, so what if I'm using something like the Aikilo sniper? That's got like, you can shoot like, 11 rounds with that? So if that's ramping up in damage, just that ability is like piques my interest like crazy.
See, I misread that. I thought that was related to like somehow like rapid knife precision hits. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. So that clarifies some, because when I misread that, I was like, I read that the first time, like, that makes even less sense. But if it's just truly weapon damage, that's honestly could be.
It just says
changing time to kill. Yeah,
that's the deal. Not even kills. Hits.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude, and that's the hits is what makes it cracked out of his mind for PvE, because it affects boss damage.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you're boss DPSing with the Whisper of the Worm, the Aikilo Sniper, Xenophage doesn't really crit, but any those things, you could put on a helmet that just makes you do flat more damage. And like, what are you using right now on a hunter? Maybe you do a Celestial Nighthawk, but then you've kind of got to take time away from shooting to do that. So this could be like, this is potentially one of the most impactful new exotics, period.
The key is it going to be a flat damage increase, or is it going to be a multiplier where that times up and
it keeps going up? Yeah,
it could get crazy.
Because
stack 1, stack 2, stack 3, and just everybody plays Hunter, and like bosses die. Like that'll be
literally that would
listen to the Titans complaining.
That would completely warp the meta.
Be scared.
That would completely warp the meta.
You add that with like an oppressive darkness and a bubble buff, and
that's going away, right?
Probably, yeah. We know we'll get something, but they probably won't bring it back at first, I would imagine. We do get, we get the name of the new strike.
Yo, you said Heir Apparent gonna be meta. Yo, the chat stupid.
I mean, if it stacks, I feel like it's gonna be like after a certain amount, like after 4 precision hits, you get like a 10% damage increase and it plateaus. Maybe
it's gotta be.
Even then, that could be a big deal.
Yeah. We get 1 strike.
Yay.
For now.
Yeah. Was like,
all the strikes taken away, but we got one new one. Let's go.
We lost 7, but over the course of the year, we should get 4. This one and then the 3 on Cosmodrome, right?
Did you say right?
Yeah. I think there's one more Europa one that's coming at some point or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe it's going to be similar to the raid. I swear there was 2 on Europa, but like, remember when we beat the raid, then I think...
Oh, yeah. What you call it? Unlocked.
They unlocked the Corrupted.
Oh, so that'd be cool.
I think they may be doing something like with that because if it takes place in like a similar kind of in the Deepstone Crypt. Because like something I noticed is if you go on the website, it says Deepstone Crypt. It literally doesn't even mention the raid. It's like Deepstone Crypt. It's almost listed as a new area.
I watched your video, sir.
Yeah.
And you actually were only one of the few to make a very good point that most people are just assuming Deepstone Crypt is just this one area. And you made a good point. Like, this could be a very large area, right? And that the raid is in this new area as opposed to just the Deepstone Crypt being one singular thing. So continue, sir, because you had to make some good points.
I don't think it's necessarily what is panning out to us. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a new, like, you can travel to it, because they kind of would have said that in order to sell the expansion. But certainly just the way it's, like, really weirdly worded. Like, I'm looking back at some of the other, DLCs, and, for Scourge of the Past, they weren't like new area, first city. They were like Scourge of the Past raid takes place in in this last city. They didn't list last city as just a new area you're going to, but they did with Deepstone Crypt. And so I think like it's very possible that a strike takes place there. Or potentially it's something like Leviathan, where you go in and do the raid, but then there's like potentially some more places you can go, some chests you can find secrets, like cool. Leviathan.
I'd like to
It's got the whole underbelly area, right? And you can go and get loot there, like pretty unrelated to the raid, even though it's not like a fully travelable, destination, right? So I think it could be similar to that, honestly.
That would be cool. That would probably be the best thing I could see, because it does seem like, the raid is Deepstone Crypt, but seeing more explorable, because so many people have questions about that destination, and like if you could explore and find little lore bits or anything like that would actually be really cool for that area that a lot of people are looking forward to understanding more about an entire race. Like, this is where we're actually finally going to get to see stuff about the Exos, and that's actually the first tell.
And that Clovis, I caught that Clovis Braid lore stuff, right? That's been dropping. And they, I
got my lunchbox over there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot, y'all. I'm not privy to such information.
Hey, you could have pre-ordered it just like me. That's your choice. I'm sorry.
I'm living through you, sir. There's
a whole book in there that would take like an hour to read. So you got
that Clovis Braid stuff is deep, man. Your man he's wild. Your boy is wild, man. He's pushing those experiments to the limit, man. But we will get into it.
Yeah, I was listening to Mylan talk about that. That man is a little crazy.
Clovis is crazy.
Yeah,
hey, it worked. We got Exos.
Something worked. All I can say is I want the Stranger's fish thingy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And whatever ship lands with those like interstellar robot rotating sections, like the ones that look like it's
the TARS guy from Interstellar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want that ship because if that's her ship, she's got the best looking loot in the entire game. Like hands down. So,
yeah. That little fish thingy was quite interesting. Of like maybe that's just like an exo pet. I feel like looking back at it, but maybe
they
that's
said at one point, right? Weren't they like asking Luke and be like, "Well, it's not a ghost." He's like, "And you won't be able to get it for a while," or something like that. He said it's.
I think it's like they at some point we'll get like pets in Destiny.
Okay.
I really do, and they'll kind of like trail along, or like a ghost you only see when you take it out.
Right.
So it's just like a nice piece of customization. You know. More content in Eververse, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Get that
Speaking of Eververse, if you may as well jump
in. In fairness, they're getting more generous now with the bright dust.
Yeah, we're going to get it to
it. Kind of, for the average person, they will definitely probably see more. For the hardcore grinders, it's likely they'll actually see a little bit less. So you kind of got both sides depending on the person playing. But yeah, the Season Pass is, sadly for me, even I said this a while ago, I was like, can the Season Pass get like a bit of an update, a change? Nope. Yeah. Not really. Yeah. We're just getting basically more bright dust thrown in there, and everything else is probably going to look pretty similar. Now, the Season Pass is going to go from, 2,500 to 10,500 bright dust, which is a good thing for, like, casual person logs in. They just want to play some strikes. They do their normal stuff. They don't do their weekly bounties. They're going to get a crap load more. But then you have the people who have 3 characters, go do every weekly bounty, and they want to farm for bright dust. And this is the game I play. They're definitely getting, somebody did the math. It was like almost 30% less bright dust that you can earn in a season potentially, the way the weeklies have been lowered. Just kind of curious if you guys cared about this one, good, bad, or otherwise.
I don't really do that hardcore weeklies. Like, I'm not fun to play Gambit every week. Like, come on, dude. I'm not going to do that. Like, the bright dust just ain't worth it for me. So I think, for the vast majority of players, it's an increase. And if you're like going super, super hardcore, I guess it's a dig, but the weekly bounties go from 200 down to 100, right? So you still can grind them. And also, you got to factor in that they seem to be, every time there's like, an event that offers a lot of bright dust, right? And so we know the Dawning is coming too, so you'll potentially be able to make up some bright dust that you maybe would have like lost if you're like a super hardcore bounty farmer.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, it's probably a short group of people. I guess my only thing was for the person who's like, I'm going to play your game and I'm going to be livid in there. They probably have 1 or 2 other people they may do that with as well. And it's just like, it would be nice for them to reward those people. And they say they're going to work on stuff in Season 13, so we'll have to see what the changes are.
Let them have more than 10 Ascended Shards then. And not get
there's a lot of changes if you want to go down that rabbit hole.
I agree with that. Like, Bungie seems to not like. We can't let players get too far ahead. We can't let our dedicated players be too have too much stuff, because then oh no, they'll be able to masterwork all the new exotics, and it's like okay. The guy's like plays like 4,000 hours. Like, he's gonna beat you in the Crucible whether or not his new exotic is masterwork. So just let's let players get lost in the world and lost in the game and get some benefits. Again, like most of it is pretty minor benefits. The difference between if I'm in the Crucible and I have a one-eyed mask and you have a one-eyed mask and mine's masterworked, I get some very slight advantages, right?
Right.
So there are advantages, but they need to stop. Like, I really think they need to, and with adept weapons, they seem to be moving into more. Let's let the hardcore players be hardcore, because those adept weapons look freaking sweet. And just those +3 to all those other stats, like that's the perfect example of like, it is technically a tiny bit better. Some players don't want that. Like, there is actually, obviously talks about how there should be adept weapons back.
Yeah, of
course. But a lot of players like didn't want that. They're like, no, you good players just want to dump on us casuals even more. And it's like, dude,
that's not the
point. +3 stability is really almost not going to make the difference in any gunfight. Like, it's
a carrot, but it's that carrot at the end of the stick that Trials needs.
Exactly. And I don't think casual players realize that, like, yes, this is a piece of loot dedicated for the hardcores, but it will help them, because then all the hardcores are chasing adept weapons. And guess what? You have adept weapons nobody, and I mean nobody hardcore is farming tokens at 1 to 3 wins anymore.
Nope.
Because they're going for those adept weapons every time, dude. There's no way you can tell me you can get an adept shotgun or you can go and get tokens. Like, so that means like the beginning wins are going to be for the most part free of hardcore players. Yeah, they're going to be near the top. So it just got easier for most players to go in and get some tokens and be more casual in trials and get some loot there.
No, I agree. And at the end of the day, like I've always said, it's an in-game activity, right? At the end of the day, we just can't be just giving out everything to everyone because, like I always say, Vanilla D2 suffered from that. And it really bothered me that people were getting raid weapons and all this other stuff. Like at the end of the day, this is an in-game content. If you're not good enough, that's fine. We still got comp for you. We still got all these other things for you. Or you can aspire to be better. So I'm not trying to be bougie. But at the end of the day, it's like we have to reward the hardcore and give them incentive to want to chase. Like that to me helps the game.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's same thing with the raids. They're getting the tease of that. And that's kind of, hopefully they kind of handle the raid socket and stuff correctly. And there's a little bit of that stuff coming in as well. But overall, it's just the in-game stuff. Like, I can go out and get a piece of armor that's the exact same as a raid piece of armor. It's like, why am I going to go get that?
Exactly.
Well, that was Destiny 1, right? Like, the armor just looked different. That was it. And it didn't work. The game, like, completely collapsed on itself. Because, like, people... The casual players, a lot of the time, like... don't realize some of the finer aspects of the game and game development. They just are in, they want the cool loot, and then they dip, right?
Right.
But once you do, even if you're a casual player, get some time off, you spend a few solid days playing the game, you really start to grind up, you can even start to really feel those end game pressures, like, or you luck out and a streamer carries you through a raid and you got some raid loot and you finally ascend. Like, something that I think it's very hard for people to realize is, like, you need aspirational content. Even if you're not beating the raid, even if you're not beating trials, you need just the knowledge that it's there, because that's what you're working towards. It's, again, you're not really going to notice it too often, but I noticed it recently in Borderlands 3, because in Borderlands 3, they changed a bunch of stuff. I was playing it recently, having fun, but it got to the point where I was max level and had some decent loot. And I was just like, had that sudden realization of what next? And there was nothing. Like, all of the takedowns are a joke and they're not even close to a raid. There's no raid bosses in Borderlands 3 like there are in Borderlands 2. You had nothing to work towards. And I literally just stopped playing after that. Like, it wasn't like I was like mad and I logged off. I just logged off and I never got back on because I was like, I'm basically done. Like, I beat the game. There's nothing for me to go for. So as soon as you remove those hardcore activities, casual players, even if they're not doing it, they'll stop playing too, because there's no more, like, why are you getting loot? Why are you getting god rolls if not to eventually maybe try trials, right? Like, why else would you want that PvP god roll? You're muted, by the way, Lord.
Preach. That's why I was literally so angry with Vanilla D2, because again, everybody got everything. And then, like you said, once the casuals get everything, they're out. Yeah. And that majority of the base then goes away. So without the aspiration, after the cars go by, so without the aspirational content, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no incentive. And the thing that people don't realize, like I got TE, I told you this story all the time, is I'll never forget in D1, I didn't know what trials was, right? And then going into the tower and seeing some God the Guardian with all this Egyptian gear, I was like, what the hell is that? And I'm
you're like, yo.
And I'm like, yo, what's doctrine of passing? And I got it. And I sucked at PvP, but it made me get in there every week, whether it be just doing those little grind bounties and so on and so forth. That's the thing you need. And people like Kackis, you on fire with that, because that's what people have to realize has to be the game. Continue.
And well, it's also, you're 100% right, but it's also designed with those baby steps. Like, I'm sure you did some of the bounties and you didn't get the adept messenger, but maybe you got the normal messenger. I
got a regular doctrine of passing, and then I was like, yo, I
gotta get next level. I gotta level up.
And it's slapped though. You can still gain benefits from that loot, but then you're like, okay, what if I get an adept? You know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, and it's just that little, like, you need something to play for. You can't have all this stuff to perfect your build, and then nothing to use your perfected build on.
Yep. Yes. Preach.
Well, that's even why, like, I mean, it's nice to see like dungeons having solo like incentives and kind of built around that, because those you do kind of need to spec out for to survive to a point. But also, like, I still even miss like hard mode raids, because that was that like you'd go through, you'd like King's Fall was still one of my favorites for the reason of it was built hard. They took it down to normal, and then as you learn the encounters, you got some gear out of there, you got some more, and that's where it's like the gear, hopefully, I'm hoping maybe in Deepstone Crypt has some benefits to the raid itself, and it needs to. Like if I get gear from the Deepstone Crypt, hopefully it has some benefits to there outside of those mods that we're going to get to see. So no, the carrot needs to be there for all of these in-game pieces so people have a reason to continue. Otherwise, especially now as you can sit in a strike playlist and get to 1250, they need to have a reason to go get other stuff that's better than just a number. And that's what...
Yep.
And that was the biggest thing with Avengers, is there was nothing to do after you got your skills. Like you got your skills, which is like a fun way to play. It was just changing a number and nothing changed. And I was like, that's what sucks. So
no doubt.
And like that's part of it's crazy. Like part of the reason Destiny is so successful is because they're not listening to a huge amount of players and who are like, put in matchmaking for raids, like do all this stuff. And Bungie's like, nope. And yeah, they don't like it, but like psychologically, even if they don't realize it, like they have that light at the end of the tunnel. They have something to always aspire towards, and it's just so important because like you said, with Avengers, with Anthem, with Borderlands, all these games, you level up, and then you kind of like,
what's next?
Exactly. And you're like, I have my build.
Yep. For what?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Preach it, brother. Preach it. Fire.
But yeah,
you got these twabs, sir.
I was like, well, we're touching through pieces of it. I mean, we know the level cap's going to be basically as we expected. The infusion's going up 200 on everything, so that's not new. But the nice thing is they did do the powerful reward changes. So now you can go sit in Strikes, Gambit, Crucible, seasonal drops, which will be whatever season the hunt's going to be. Yep. You'll have a chance from those to get powerful rewards. Now, they say it's still more efficient to go through the powerful challenge checklist and do them all, but if you're like, I'm out, and you have like a one-player character especially is like, I've got one character, I did all my challenges, what do I do this week? Now you can go sit in those activities if you want to and still keep leveling up. So there's incentive to continue to play the game, which is going to help, especially that one person who's working through it. What's up?
The key is going to be the frequency of those.
Correct.
Strikes.
Yeah, that's the big one. Is it like one every 10 strikes? Oh, hell no. It's like one every couple or a few or something? Then we might be talking. But it all depends, as you said, the frequency. Because if like I've done 10 strikes and I got nothing, this is not worth it. Yeah, that's a whole different story entirely. Tokens. Yeah, I mean, tokens, collections, those are pretty much being nerfed into the ground. Collections, too, like I was even thinking about exotics. Like they're going to be capped at 1050. Everything's going to be 1050 first off, like every piece of gear that you own. But like even exotics from collections, like, oh, it's like, hey, I want to go through, toy around with this exotic. It's only like 20 below where nope. Even your old exotics that you like pulled out to use, you're going to have to infuse them all to go use them towards the end because they're not going to be nearly as close, which is a little annoying. I don't know why that stuff's quite as low, but
I already know what they're doing with that. Go ahead.
I don't see why you can't, the withdrawing stuff in the collections can't also be 20 below.
Right.
I feel like it's like problem solved and it makes it more fun. Like, I'll do it a lot where it's like, hey, it's arc burn, whatever. I'm just going to get the risk runner. Now I'm not. Like, screw that. Like, I'm not going to have to infuse it up. Like, that's ridiculous. So I think that was a mistake, honestly. It's going to, the vendor thing is a big change. Like,
that's huge.
I mean, I used to just stand at Zavala and be like, all right, now I hit the soft cap.
Yep, they stopped that. That's what that was.
So now you're going to have to like farm your ass off doing, public events, a few other activities I need to test
Playing
out.
the game, sir. Playing the game.
Yeah.
Well, okay, the other side is I don't have as many as probably some of you guys do, but it's like I've got 5,000 Crucible tokens, for example. What am I going to use those on now?
Now nothing, dude.
Shards.
Basically nothing. Yeah, shards. Really?
Shards, you can take the spider.
Oh my God! We're getting there. Don't worry. Put a pin in that.
They said that they're doing a vendor refresh for armor, but they kind of never said weapons. So they're probably adding maybe a few more Crucible and Vanguard weapons. But other than that, like it's going to be more Anonymous Autumns, I guess.
How many more reissues are we? Anonymous Autumn. Oh my God.
No. He hit it with the auto.
Oh yeah. No, I've had way too many of those as well. But yeah, it's like as you said, I will say when they switched over to the world loot pool. That is not what the world loot pool is in my head, because when they're like, hey, all the vendors have these 30 different weapons, I'm like, you just took the identity out of Crucible weapons from Shax and Vanguard weapons from there and Gambit weapons.
Like why is Zavala dropping Last Hope, right? Like what's the point of that?
That was a weird change, and I don't know why.
They really need to do a vendor refresh.
Complete. Yeah, I miss those, man. It added an excitement, like you said. It added an excitement and added an individuality to each vendor and a purpose. And I miss that from D1. And I don't know. I don't know if the vibe I'm getting like it's a resource thing, man. Like they got all these bucket list things of what they want to do. And I know we'll touch the Luke Smith thing, but didn't they say from a resource standpoint, they're almost less than half than when they had, about half than when they had Activision
they can't do what
Vicarious
they did.
and High Moon.
Yeah. They can't do what they did with Forsaken. And that was, you said the Luke Smith one. He had that Twitch gaming podcast interview, and it's just, he basically stated, it's like, we're probably never going to make something as big as Forsaken again.
Said it.
And that's an eye-opener to some people saying, hey, is this Forsaken? Is there a secret third Enceladus destination or whatever? We're getting Cosmodrome and we're getting Europa. Europa's going to be big, and this is going to be bigger than Shadowkeep, which is exciting because we're getting Europa, which has been developed for like 12,000 years. It's been in development forever. And we also get to bring back Cosmodrome, which is kind of a, nice skin paint, and then they're going to kind of build that one up as well. But that does kind of tell you what their resources are like. Can they do things like a Dreaming City and a Tangled Shore, plus the strikes and everything we got with that?
The good news is that they can bring destinations and content back more resource efficiently, and that's why we're getting the remade Vaulted Glass, in a few seasons, right? Because it's not the same resources as completely redesigning a raid, and so you have a lot of content from Destiny 1 to draw from, and then hopefully, because the vast majority of people were not here for Destiny 1, so to them it's totally new content, and the Destiny 1 vets are more than happy to get a D2 Fatebringer. Yes, you can hopefully just get a lot of resources from that. Maybe they expand the team. Maybe they open a new a Bungie office somewhere or something like that. Like, and then maybe you do work your way towards having the resources to do Forsaken. I mean, Destiny is one of the biggest franchises out there, and it's just like it's remarkably consistent. Like it'll obviously drop off when it kind of dies, but just people keep coming back. People keep spending money. So they certainly. Again, that's the good news is that they can have a lot of content to draw from, and even existing content. They bring back Titan at some point in 6 years from now or whatever. People are gonna be thrilled about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, this is like I said, you just want to see them continue to improve, evolve. There's a lot of stuff going on with them. I will say, shout out to the new faces on the stream that I never saw before. So they look like they hiring. I saw some new people. I was like, oh, I ain't never seen this brother before. What's going on? I see a lot of cool faces, but you just hope that continues to ramp up, and we got to be realistic with certain expectations based on studio size. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we've joked about it before to say, it's like, how much are we expecting to get from, Beyond Light? We kind of figured Shadowkeep was like a buffer. They were trying to figure out they were getting on their own. They had a whole lot of stuff going on, and then they are taking Europa, and this is where it's going to be kind of interesting to see how big is Europa, because they probably had built the framework for Europa about 6 years ago. So they had something to work with, but I mean, granted, they probably built it mostly from the ground up. Then they're going to turn around and do a brand new destination for Witch Queen, because they've said each expansion has a new one. It's like, that's where it's going to see, like, what scale do they have in their pipeline again for how much bandwidth do they have to build another new destination and another new destination within, when we talked about the cadence of the seasons, are they going to try and shrink it and get back to that September gap? Because if Beyond Light would have come out in September, we would have been all loving this thing, because November 10th is stupid, busy, full of everything.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like this
week.
Well,
not Cyberpunk anymore.
Hey, I'm happy about that one. Seriously.
See ya.
Free dabs.
See ya, Cyberpunk creators was bad happy.
Cyberpunk, you know what Cyberpunk doesn't want to say? They scared, dude. They're like, they saw.
They scared. They saw that Destiny. They was like, nah, they want the smoke.
The Cyberpunk devs saw that like Revenant gameplay, and they're like, oh my god, dude. Like, we're out of here, boys.
They saw that
game actually was a lot of fun. But
the world's first, December. They smoke.
Hey, honestly, from what I hear, that game probably needs to go to like April. But I mean, it won't.
Hey, you think that game's development is bad?
Oh, Halo
Infinite.
Oh
my
God.
Dude, the guy. That's the best storyline. Is like the main guy leaves. Then they like pay who knows how much to bring him back, and now he left again. And it's like. Dude, he was like, I'm done, bro. Twice in a row, he's like, peace.
I think the ambition of that turning into like an open world style is probably biting them, and they'll just like scope creep or whatever you want to call it. Just like they're trying to do a lot.
Let's just call it what it is.
It needs to be a 2022.
It's a mismanaged bad studio. It's just what it is. And I'm an Xbox guy, but I gotta call it how I see it, bro. Like it's mismanagement at the top. And once you have this much turnover and stuff like that, now they brought Statton in, and he's taking Chris Lee space. Like it's crazy.
I mean, they brought a narrative lead in like 3 months before the game was supposed to launch, and you're starting over, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Literally, it was a politely, I'm taking your job. The dude whoever showcased whatever they showcased in April with the Craig memes and faces, he's out of here.
Oh, poor guys.
So So you guys that's responsible for Craig, we got a new team in place, and it's the new direction we going with.
Which, it makes you thankful of Bungie. Like, they have a clear direction they're going in, like very clear. And I think that so much so that they felt safe enough to announce not only Beyond Light, but Witch Queen and Lightfall. Like, that's pretty unprecedented, right?
Yeah,
that's never, like, at no point, Destiny 1 came out, and then we had The Taken King, originally Comet.
That's
a
OG reference.
Oh, yeah.
Talk that OG.
We got alpha beta players in here. What's up?
Hey, that D1 Alpha Vet Twitter account got nothing on me. But listen, they had that. But like, could you imagine when that came out, they were like, hey, Rise of Iron next. I guess Rise of Iron, like, they were working on Destiny 2.
Yeah.
They couldn't make it in time and they made Rise of Iron. But even then, it's Destiny 2, Forsaken. And Forsaken, we have absolutely no idea about Shadow Keep. So this is like really unprecedented that they're like, here are the next 3 big expansions. Like, we have a clear overarching storyline that will connect everything to this Lightfall. Yes. Really interesting they're doing that. But again, it's good news because it's like they have a vision. And like you guys said, with Halo, they clearly are all over the map.
Yeah. But last point, and we'll move on from 343. I do feel for them because I always say this, 343, it's not their baby, right? It's like they're a foster parent in a way. Like, they didn't create Halo. It was Bungie that left, and then they were forced to now live up to this expectation to do. No. So I do feel that, I'm not making excuses, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, I do feel that I wonder how they would do if they had their own franchise that was built by them, new ground up kind of thing,
I'll just say quickly, like, I'll make excuses. They have like an impossible job, like where they have to be extremely loyal to the franchise, to Halo, or Halo vets will be like, this isn't Halo, this is trash, right? And yet they need to be innovative enough so that they're not like, you're just copying Halo. This feels like the same as all these other games. They have to do both at the same time. It's really difficult to do.
Tough spot. I definitely agree.
I mean, like, something like Halo 2 and Halo 3 did do that, where it was still unmistakably Halo, but it added enough new things that it was also completely innovative. It's very, very hard to do that. Destiny 2 went freaking backwards from Destiny 1, and then now, finally, we're forwards again. I think, like, with Beyond Light, like, if we just got rid of everything in the middle, and it was, like, Destiny 1... to Beyond Light, where we have all this, we have new darkness subclasses, and we're continuing this way. I think that storyline would make sense. But we kind of spend 4 years kind of
getting stuff back.
Like they're honestly basically with the Destiny content vault, they're almost taking the Red War campaign and saying it didn't kind of happen because
almost,
you're going to Forsaken like straight in now.
Doesn't it feel almost like they're kind of like? They're finally getting on track, like with Beyond Light, and again they announced that trio.
Yep,
it feels like it's like almost restarting. Like now we're exploring this like darkness. And this is Destiny. This isn't even Destiny 2 anymore. We have the Stranger back. It's kind of like gone full circle.
Full circle.
Let's just hope their Episode 7 is better than Star Wars Episode 7, and we'll all be pretty good.
Hey, it can't possibly be worse. Actually, well, Game of Thrones Season 8 has a word with you.
Game of Thrones Season 8
there you go. Yeah, that's the bad one. That's a bad Season 8. No, I will say though, is we see this new arc coming of the next trilogy, as they called it somewhere in one of these 14 videos we've had.
43.
Okay, 43. Sorry, I miscounted. The darkness subclasses
is
plurality of that.
Your boy, again, caught that before Paul Tassi did the article. I caught it right away. I noticed we went over. I was like, yeah.
He said Tassi before I caught that.
Hey, Paul Tassi, come on, bro. You can get out of here.
Shout out to Tassi. Continue.
It was like just barely an inventory screen. I just noticed it said darkness subclasses, plural. Now, it could be a spelling mistake. It could just be like that. Maybe that, but just the way the UI was set up, right?
Oh, it's too much. Yeah.
You have, right now you have, it was like Gunslinger, and then you have the two little modules on the side for Arc and Void. And I think we all thought there'd just be another module. So now it's darkness.
Now we
and
switch.
then you're good. Right? You just have the three little great circles, and you just click darkness or stasis, and you click whatever the other two are, right? But it's a totally different knob that says switch to darkness subclasses, and it completely switches. And then when you hover over, because he kind of barely went back over, and you can see it say switch to light subclasses, and also in plural again, because obviously we have multiple light subclasses. So that to me says like, dude, and then Luke Smith comes in and says stasis is. Oh, what do you say? I might even have
the first or something like that. He basically commented on it.
He literally said, he's like, stasis is our introduction to the darkness subclasses.
Yep.
He again, and it's all, and like, there's no way after like 7 different quotes and like, it's all just mistakenly plural. Like they know what they're doing. And I think that again, the way the UI is designed, I think that it's very possible that we get more darkness subclasses, and there's 3 light subclasses, there's 3 light elements, and they've announced those 3 expansions all having to do with the darkness. So could it be like with Witch Queen we get like poison, and then with Lightfall we get like the Veil powers or something like that?
Shadow is kind of what I was thinking there.
Yeah,
like almost
whatever
like,
the Taken have, bro. Whatever. I want those powers. If I can make my
my Taken
be a Taken Knight or a Taken Captain, I'm done. I just need the black ball of doom.
Shoot invincible fire that kills them in 0.1 seconds, and then also make your allies completely invincible to damage, like the Vex assholes.
The goblins. Them goblins.
And then you can clone yourself like the freaking Scions, and then just run around
with me now. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Dude, I mean, that's the most OP subclass for sure. For being taken. Absolutely.
Well, maybe that's what we get from Savathun. I still think the hive has to be green. That's why I'm with you on the poison. Exactly. I think that's what that has to be.
And just have like different things around, because there definitely is like a very clear like poison, like Thorn does it, the necrotic grips.
Yep.
We're seeing a theme here. Yeah.
I agree.
But and then Lightfall. Well, and then the question is, that's the key is like, okay, so if we have 6 subclasses somewhere around Lightfall's end, how do they take that into what's next? Is that like
shout out to the balance team?
Oh my god. That's gonna be a hard task. Good luck.
Shout out to them.
1,200 grenades later.
You guys want a crazy theory?
Do it.
And you can clip this, and then 3 years from now,
exclusive.
If I'm right, listen. All right, here's a crazy theory. Lightfall comes and we lose our light subclasses. They literally take all the light subclasses away, and it's just the 3 darkness subclasses that you can choose between. And then the next trio is like us, because we basically lose, and we essentially, you could even say, join the darkness with Lightfall. The light, like it would imply that light loses that battle. Then over the next course of whatever, Bungie kind of reintroduces the light subclasses, but they're remade somewhat. They have some new abilities, and they're importantly redesigned after the darkness subclasses
and fragments and all that.
Exactly, because right now, like, you have 2 very different types of subclasses, like the just normal node like attunements, and then a lot more in-depth customization. And I think obviously people would rather have that customization going forward with the light subclasses. So that's a great excuse for them to like take them away and then reintroduce them remade.
Oh no! Listen. You might be on to something.
I was like, we've kind of joked about some of that before. The other idea was like, if we get darkness in this one, are they over the course of seasons or time going to like rehash the other ones? Like, is next season potentially going to be like, hey, this is an arc based one. Your arc one gets the aspects and fragments. And then solar. I kind of wondered if they would do it that quickly. But honestly, like yours would be more theoretically, would make more sense in lore aspect, because you would actually have a reason to lose them and the way to bring them back in that different way. Because right now it'd be kind of arbitrary to be like, okay, the arc now functions like this. Like, I really like how that.
I made a big mistake telling that whole theory without my tinfoil hat on.
No,
it
doesn't count now. You didn't have the hat on. It doesn't count. Yeah.
I literally had it sitting behind me. What was I thinking?
Salute to the tinfoil. You already know. Listen, man, I think you're onto it, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's like, shout out Scarrow. What's going on? What's going on, chill guy?
And cool guy.
Yeah, in the chat. But yeah, it's like, I do think, because at the end of the day, we're going to have the Stasis subclass. We're going to have these new there's subclasses. The other stuff, I'm not going to say it's going to be obsolete, but it's going to need to be reworked, right? So what better way to do what you said, right? Where they either remove and it's light fall, and then there's a periodic kind of progression of reintroducing things
getting
in a
back
new way
to the light
and getting back to the light. And it makes sense thematically, story. That's fine. You on to it. Put the hat, man. You on to it, bro.
Yeah.
You on to it.
Yeah. And they're definitely, regardless of if that exact trajectory happens, there has really got to be at some point them remaking the current subclasses. Like this seems like subclasses 2.0, but I think they knew they would be taking off, like they'd be way too much work to do that with all of them, because you'd have so much loot, because you have all these different aspects for like the existing subclasses. So I think to reintroduce them like one at a time would certainly make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Right. However they do it over seasons, or as you're saying, in a much later state, they will eventually. This is like, they even called like subclasses kind of like a beta state for this, as they at one point that was said as they're built into it. I'm just kind of curious, as you take stuff like hammers, for example, for a Titan, and you've got Sunbreaker, you've got the big burning maul, you've got sunspots, and you've got the throwing hammers. Like, are those now going to be like the aspects to change the way the subclass works? Or are we just like going to whittle it down and change? Like, are we going to be losing? Like, I mean, what is Scarrow saying in chat? He's like, no, it wasn't Scarrow. Somebody was just saying it's like bottom tree. It was Cool Guy. Bottom tree Dawnblade. Like, if you lose one of your favorite subclasses, like, and they don't give you a way to get it back, there's definitely going to be hell to pay to the community for sure.
I got a theory with that, because it's like, I think what we're seeing now is the evolution of the subclass. Like what we're seeing now with the fragment and stuff, and they want to, in my opinion, they want to get back to some semblance of choice and configuration. Okay.
Absolutely. And if you look at how it's formatted, you just pick. It's like you have your like melee slot, your jump slot, and you hover over it and it just comes down. So hypothetically, if it was the solar version, you could, and literally your super takes up a slot, but there's only one option. If you hover over it, nothing comes down.
Yep.
Right.
So they're saying two things there. One, if they remade it, that you could potentially just hover over, like you said, Sunbreaker, and then you have Burning Maul to select from. So you can choose between multiple supers.
Yep.
But they're also saying maybe that, at some point, whether they've introduced more darkness subclasses or not, we have a Forsaken possibility where we don't necessarily get a new darkness subclass. Maybe we just get a new super for Stasis. Like we got new supers for the other elements. Right? And that could be like, if they're not ready to introduce a whole new element and a whole new subclass, they're not ready for poison, but they're ready for, hey, the behemoth has like something else. It has like a mace or something. I don't know. So that's another very interesting possibility. It's like, we got these new subclasses. Could we be getting like a new super treatment at some point?
Right. The potential for variants and stuff. There's a lot of stuff here, man. I think this is definitely the direction that they intend on going. I just think it's one of those situations from a time and resource standpoint, they can't do it all at once. Yeah. So we are going to now, systematically put this thing out per expansion or whatever, and we're going to get them in that way. My
tinfoil theory would require a lot of resources. So will that actually happen? Probably not, to be honest. But who knows?
Fair enough.
Yeah, it does feel like at some point they're going to probably change them one at a time. We'll just have to see how it happens. Because to do all three subclasses in some big upheaval, that's a bit substantial.
I mean, this is a little out there, but remember when they had like Arc Week, Solar Week, whatever, and they when they did that, they had like pretty substantial overhauls, like even like new abilities sometimes.
I still remember Arc Week was the biggest letdown ever.
I liked it though. From a meta standpoint, it was trash.
It was trash. Arc Week, what is this? Trash. Are you going to be like, is abilities going to be everywhere? No, it was literally, that was the subclass refresh. That was
just changing the subclass
of sandbox changes and rework. Like for me, the geek in me was like, yo, they reworked, you know what I'm saying? Like so many aspects. Arc Web came out at that time for Top Tree, I believe, Stormcaller and stuff like that. And it really definitely changed something. Now, from a content perspective, yes, trash. but from a meta perspective, there was some substantial changes. And I was
There
like,
really
yo,
was, yeah.
these older classes are now effective, and I'm excited to play. And that stuff gets me
Can they
excited.
have an exotic armor month or something where they rehash all the useless exotic armor?
Yeah.
Preach.
There's a lot of work that
honestly.
needs done because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get a lot of love. So
Eon Swifts, baby.
oh my god, those need a whole. That would be a really cool thing to those get some love.
I hit it with the Kawhi. I hit it with the Kawhi.
Hey,
that was dope,
dude. I mean, like somehow they take up like 50% of your Nightfall drops. And you're like,
I've had so many of those
possible.
Drop. I don't get
I know,
it either.
it's ridiculous.
I think I got like 2 in one day, and I didn't have that many challenges that I did or whatever. I had 2 of my 3 drops or something. I was like, get out of my inventory. And they both, and that's like my highest drop is probably like a 69 stat roll on an Aeon safe.
Yeah.
I was just pissed.
Oh, dude, I got like a 69 Eon Swift, and I just hate my life for it.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like,
I'm like,
that's when you just shut it down and be like, hey, stream's over. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, I know. It's like cracked stats too. I'm like, can you not give me this for the Dune Marchers or something? Like, come on, why you gotta
anything
come in here with this Eon Swift?
Eon Swift garbage.
Well, I do want to ask you guys, 400
Well, hold on
legendary
before you
shards
continue.
What's up?
Before you continue, we just spoke about exotic armor. Yo, when is exotic armor catalyst gonna come? They said that was coming back in freaking Warmind. They're like, we're gonna experiment with exotic armor catalyst soon. It's been years, bro. Come on,
Bruh.
Exotic armor needs love, but
you at the campfire, bro. We've been preaching this exotic armor lack of love for so long, bro. It literally gets just neglected. But continue, E. I'm with you, bro.
No,
at some point they gotta do it, and also they gotta. Realistically, they should really be introducing catalyst essentially whenever they introduce a new exotic, or maybe one season later, because like an exotic without a catalyst is like objectively worse. Like I don't make masterwork shards, like or sorry, I don't make
orbs
of light. Mm-hmm. That's huge. Like
orbs of power now, by the way.
Especially especially
they're changing in names.
Okay.
Especially for
darkness,
like primaries,
not light.
Yeah, true. But especially for primaries, like I'm never gonna if I'm gonna use a primary in PvE, I gotta use one that's masterwork, obviously.
Facts.
Like so yeah, they really need to finish that off for the exotics.
Oh yeah, big time.
Somebody's like Icefall Mantle Catalyst make the overshield last longer.
Oh my gosh.
It's like it's already going to be busted. But hey, I'm a Titan. I get to enjoy it for a little while. So.
Oh, yeah. See how that works?
We're going to get to enjoy it for like 5 minutes and it's going to get smashed into the ground.
Bungie be letting y'all rock with them without them nerfs, man. Y'all be getting, soon as the other Warlocks and Hunters get something that's broke, they be like, yo, we got to nerf that effective immediately.
Hey, us Titans, that one-eyed mask we need something in PvP, okay? Hunters are fine. Look at
Kackis. Kackis
listen.
Yo, there be, whoever's on the balance team be letting the Titans rock for a couple of seasons with some broken stuff.
You know why? Because remember when they did Guardian Games and the Hunters were like crying about Guardian Games, and literally the Hunters literally like said that the Titans were like cheating and making duplicate. Just the Titans are making duplicate accounts, and then Bungie had to come out and show them the in-game data and say, "No, you crybabies. Here's the literal data that shows that you're just not trying." Dude, that was the best. Dude, the Hunters are like, you can't even, if you're a Hunter main, you got to keep quiet for like 3 more years because of that. That was like the biggest embarrassment. Like, the Titans just came in with our little pea brains and just punched our way to victory, dude. And it was just the best thing ever. And Warlocks are, I gotta admit, they were like up there for just vibing the entire time and just coming in second place. Like, it was
the whole time.
Dude, the numbers for like Titans and Hunters were like going up and down. Warlocks had like the same. They were just vibing the whole time and like never got upset. They were just like chilling. They're like, second place is good. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll take that silver. They're on the podium.
Yo, Citizen said he's unsubbing. Yo, the Hunters is tight. Listen, man, he is some truth to what he's saying. No, I can't lie, man. I can't hold it.
When Bungie released the data proving the Hunters were just not trying, like that was classic.
They had to. Everybody's like, they're cheating. And there's like video of it, like.
It was like the dumbest idea. It was like Titans are cheating because they're making new classes and just redoing it. It's like, well, you can make any new class. And they're like, no, but the Titans are doing it. It's like, well, what's your proof that only Titans are doing it? It's like, well, because they're winning. It's like, that's not how it works, dude. That's not how that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yo, the Hunters on my line was tight, bro. They was not feeling y'all that way. That Guardian, yo, bro, they was not feeling that statue.
That statue is sadly fitting for what we got because it's sitting over there next to Vala like a afterthought, so it's fine. It's not like a big grand statue. It's this little like Triumph that got tripped over in the corner.
I hate to admit it too. Silver and bronze look pretty dope for the class of two. Gold's a little too much, dude. It's like
I don't need that much bling in my life. I'm sorry.
Exactly, dude.
I've never So I will say, speaking of bling, you guys are about to spend all of it trying to get your enhancement prisms. 400 legendary shards per prism.
Dude, who would ever spend 400 legendary shards on a prism? That's insane.
So how many shards do you have, Kackis? Because I know you got to have a crap. I have like 14,000, and I got
16,000, something like that.
Yeah, so it's like with mine, I could buy 37 prisms. I'm like, I could use my prisms, and I couldn't even fill it back up with 14,000 shards. I'm like, the person who walks around with like 500 is like, no, ever.
It's like, crazy because like, who needs to buy shards? Like new and casual players, right? Because I can just do GMs, and I'll get not shards, prisms. I'll get all my prisms from GMs, right? Mm-hmm. Easy. Like, super easy. Mm-hmm. So it's targeted towards new players that, can't do a GM. They can't complete a GM, so they need to buy it. But then it's like, dude, for those players, 400 shards is so much.
Yeah, that's a lot, bro.
Like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, Spider's definitely hustling out here. My man hustling out here.
He's putting in some work. Like,
dude, this is like
out here, bro.
This is just like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like this. I feel like the Spider is like the pawn shop. So he's like, best I can do is 400. Like, you're like,
he like the pawn shop.
Come on, yeah.
See, what it is they got rid of the sequential increase, right? Because before, remember, you trade some stuff in, then the price go up, then the price go up. So now they try to do this flat thing, but it's like the only thing I agree with is the legendary shard removal as a currency to buy from, because who really is gonna come down for that? But the prices for what they're asking for these shards or these prisms or whatever, to me, seem aimed at you guys, which is the content creator that has all this excessive currency.
That's exactly who it's for.
Yeah, that's literally what
this
it's like.
They want you to clean out your vault,
and they want you guys to clean it out. That's like, how I look at it.
Here's the thing: if you're a good content creator who actually plays the game, you can do GMs, bro. Like, absolutely. I can do a GM easily. Like, absolutely. I will never buy. You can already buy shards, right?
Right.
And the return on them from the gunsmith isn't even great. It's just a very confusing, like, again, you would expect it to be for newer players, but like a newer player should never give away 400 legendary shards for a prism. Like, no way, dude. I just thought, weirdly enough, the masterwork pricing change makes a lot more sense. Where you can only buy 5, but overall it's cheaper. It's like, okay, that makes sense.
I agree.
Because that is aimed at and will help the new players.
Yes.
Because it's like, hey, they probably don't need much more than 5 a day, and it's overall cheaper for them. But you can't go like insane and like buy like 1,000 like right off the start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I'm with you. What you think, E?
Oh, I mean, I just thought it was ridiculous when I saw it, because I literally pulled up. I was like, all right, how many shards do I have? I can buy this many. I'm never going to do this. This is ridiculous. And then we have the enhancement core switch as well, where you're like, hey, it's 10, 20, 40, 80, 160. Yeah. I don't know who pays that much for them. I occasionally, if I see Spider, I'm like, oh, I'll buy a couple shards. Yeah. Now, literally, you could currently buy 2 for the price of what it's going to be 1 in the future. So I guess they...
like, I don't think I've ever bought an enhancement core from Spider. Like, ever.
No, not
or obviously, no, like like a masterwork core. I've never.
You never?
I'm too. No, never.
I've honestly just like to slowly build my collection. I'm like, oh, I have like 15,000 shards. I'll buy like 1 or 2. But as soon as it gets to 40, I'm like,
as soon as he goes up to 40, then I'm like, you might.
You got so many. You get so many shards from, if you do, and even just a normal amount of raids, you get the masterwork versions, the curated versions, a decent amount, and each of those give you 7.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like that intermediate skill person. You know what I'm saying?
And also, beat Pit. Pit gives you a guaranteed masterwork. There's 7 shards right there. Yeah. Pit's not even hard. 3 people Pit. Easy, bro.
Kackis in the defense of the casual base here.
Dude, no, listen.
Talking Endgame talk.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Normally,
Gloves
you'd
coming
be
off.
right. Normally, you'd be right. But this season, we got Falling Guillotine. It's a joke of an encounter, dude.
True.
You literally just dupe the ball, which everyone knows how to do because of the current public event, and then you throw up a bubble or a well, and you just spin to win the entire time, and you will... 2 people could beat that boss in one phase, easy with Falling Guillotine.
Also, I've done it too many times with Ares.
If you haven't done Pit, do it, bro. It's so easy right now.
You're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? The problem is that mid-tier to beginning level person, they don't got those strats that you know, man. They don't know. They coming into the game. What's this? What's this gun? What does this do? Carry me through this.
Hence why there's a lot of guides out there that have dummies on it. I don't know who makes those though. I forget the guy.
Shots fired. Some guy here. It's cool. It's cool content creator we don't make stuff.
Clearly, clearly that's who I'm making it for. You know what I'm saying? But it really Pit Heresy is like easier than it's ever been. It's just like obviously finding a group is the hard part.
Yeah.
But it's like just using LFG. People always like the problem with LFGs is they're toxic. They're toxic.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
And you know what to do. Don't mess. Come on, that's intimidating to a new guy. Come on, Cat. Come on.
But you just have to find one. You just have to find one good group, and you're golden, right? And then you have experience to help you find more. And even if you so you play with 2 guys, one guy's super toxic, the other guy's chill. Add that other guy, and then try to get someone else with him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, now you can make an LFG, and you're looking for one player. Right. And like, dude, it's so easy. A lot of like players that are just hardcore. It's like I just want 2 teammates. Yeah. They could be basically completely new. I can still basically solo it. Like I see so many people who say, "Oh, I had a toxic LFG experience," and it's like I'm never going back. It's like, okay, well, it's like how many times have you tried LFG? Once. So they had one bad experience, and they're like, never again. It's like, well, you just count that as a failed attempt. It's like just keep going in there, and again, if you meet someone nice, meet someone good, 1 out of 6 people in a raid LFG, if they're nice or good, which is a pretty decent chance. Add them, and then you can just slowly build a team. Build up a team.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
But people, they try one LFG, it doesn't work out, and then they complain about it on Twitter for 8 hours a day. And then it's like, dude, use that Twitter time
to be making up a new LFG. That's what we do at Cack. That's what we do.
It's so true, though. Like, I mean, that's kind of one of those things. Any game you've ever played online.
I will say, just really quickly, so I'm not like crapping on the casual players. Like, again, I know how toxic LFGs are. The best example is when my team was the only team on console to beat Crown of Sorrow.
Yes, sir.
One of my guys from that team who had the emblem, again, there's 6 people in the world who had that emblem on PlayStation, was trying to get a team, and they said he didn't have enough clears and kicked him out. And he's the guy, part of the team that beat it day 1. It's like, this guy knows what he's doing. So, yes, I know LFGs are toxic as crap, but it only takes one. You only got to find one good one, and you're set. And again, keep adding players that you play with that you find in LFGs that are good. It's always the one toxic guy that ruins it, but the other guy, the other 5 guys in the raid team are usually pretty chill, right?
Yeah.
So,
No, I feel your point. Like I said, I understand both sides. I understand your point, and I understand for the casual guy, sometimes that first experience is scarring, man.
It really is, dude.
No Xeno, no Whisper. You're out of here, bro.
Yeah, must have literally, like, must have the, we're joking the new raid's going to come out, and the LFG posts the next day are going to be like, must have 24-hour emblem, must have raid exotic, must have 5 clears.
Must have raid jacket.
Must have raid jacket.
6 months later, you'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
No doubt. What else we got here?
I mean, there's a silver lining to all this stuff. At least all your sparrows are going to load quickly, so that gotta go fast.
Hey, that's actually good.
I was like, that's a good thing. And now the key is, if you have a sparrow that has the instant loader on it, dump it and go get one that actually gets you better perks. So you can actually have reloader and dodging and all that stuff that's better. Honestly, apparently the best sparrow out there is the Scourge of the Past one, because you have the, I guess, extra health on your sparrow.
Less.
Yeah.
Or they shoot you less. Yeah, they target you less.
Oh, yeah.
So that thing has like 3 perks on it. But generally, I mean, that's a good thing, which is one person did say the Speed Demon also does the auto reloading as well. So you're actually kind of potentially losing both. So if you like those perks, just, keep pulling those sparrows till you get them. But the fact that, like, everybody's wanted this for 6 years as well. So this is one of those finally little quality of life things where like, oh, it took you long enough. I was like, everybody's always wanted this.
Make all sparrows like 160, right? Isn't there a few 150s bumping around?
Yeah, that is true.
And it's like, if a sparrow's 150, see ya. Like, I'm never going to use it ever.
Can there be a 180 raid sparrow, please? Like, what?
Yo, shout out to Scarrow.
Why not?
He said anybody care about reload no sparrow? Scarrow kind of right about that.
No, I don't think anybody actually cares. I'm just saying you can do something besides make sure it reloads fast.
I think
perks are pretty minimal.
I literally think the reason they're capped at 160 is just because they like did the tests and like that is enough time to get through like a loading zone that they can actually load it. If they're any faster, it might like hit a limit. That's probably why.
Probably makes sense on the hardware.
I always wondered about them, yeah. Especially pertaining to Sparrow Racing League that we haven't seen.
Hey, maybe after Lightfall and this trilogy that they do, they finally drop the old consoles and it's only next gen and PCs only, and we can see what else they do from there.
It's going to be a few years before they can drop it, though. Like, you said maybe after this trilogy, right? Maybe after Lightfall.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, then that would be reasonable timing for doing that.
It feels like, because we're going to get crossplay with Witch Queen, and then Lightfall is going to be, who knows? And then at that point, like, if you don't have a PS5 and you want to play Destiny Season 10 or Year 10, whatever that is, time to go next gen because we want to make it for that. Like, at that point...
are you shunning the 30 frames per second gamer?
No, I'm... Yes, actually, I am at that point, 100%.
Are you VIPing them, sir?
I want to see what Destiny looks like if it's made for that stuff. That's the key.
Are you implying that those guys are holding back the development of Destiny?
100%, and I'm trying not to cuss, but yes.
Hey, your eyes can't even see faster than 30 frames. Stop hating, bro.
I ain't mad at it.
Nowadays, with Xbox being like, yeah, you can finance an Xbox One S for like $25 a month and stuff, and still get
get the 35 and get the Series X, please.
Mm-hmm. Get that.
Even then though, it's like it's gonna be so easy to upgrade. Like that was the thing. It's like for some people, getting a $300 console, that's that's too much for them. But it's like, hey, 35 or 25 bucks a month. Like,
all access,
I mean, I just imagine when you're a teenager or a kid trying to convince your parents, like, please,
please.
You know what I mean? And now you can be like, Mom, 35, I'll pay you 35 bucks a month. I can give you 35 bucks a month. And they'll probably be like, okay.
Them chores get done, groceries get done.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. The PC gamers like to think they're on top, and technically they are, but it's like, convince, Mom, I need $2,000 for just my graphics card. She's gonna be like, get out of here, you idiot. Like,
Ma, I went to 3090, so I was thinking.
I got a 3090. You can't even get a 3090 right now. What are you trying to do to me?
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, but Mom, it's only $700. It's like, and then you're like, but then it's like the size of a small bus, so I would need a new I would need a new motherboard. I need more RAM. I need I need a different power system. I need a different cooling system.
Can I get that 4K 144? It's $2,000 monitor to go with it too.
Like,
I need that.
I need.
Yeah. So that's what consoles are for. Consoles are a great introduction to gaming.
Scarrow's like, I feel dude, Scarrow, I'm with you. I'm waiting for a new graphics card and a monitor as well. So I want these things. I'm with you, man. Trust me.
Dude, exactly 3 people on planet Earth were able to just take their graphics card out and replace it with a 3090. Everyone else had to get a completely different rig. I'm telling you.
Facts. Mm-hmm. No doubt, man. Fun times.
Well, apparently Eververse is going to have 9 seasons, basically go back 3 seasons, and everything from 1 to then will be in there. I would like to see them just drop more bright engrams. Like when you get to that season 100 level, once you get one above 100, it's like every 3, you're like, oh, I got 3 levels, I got a bright engram, and that's it. I would love to see them do a little bit more post 100, just something. I don't know what, but something.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like I just kind of take it as I get them, and then sometimes I get exotic ornaments. I'm like, oh cool. I go on for the Thunderlord recently, and I'm like, oh sweet. And I was using it farming strikes when it was heavyweight and arc burn, and it's just like I just kind of get it as I don't really care about that stuff. And you gotta like, to them it's like I'm okay with stuff like that where it is purely cosmetic, and it's like, hey, Bungie's got to make some money, and if you want to spend some money to get the dopest looking ornament that has like 0.2 inches of a longer barrel, so like Fallout plays,
so Fallout can make the video.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, the long barrel,
always longer.
I mean, that's when it's a little sketchy when it's like, okay, if there's actual range advantage, Oh, it's like it's super slight, but for me, I think the big thing is like, and this happened in Call of Duty World War II. It's like, yes, it's a purely cosmetic ornament. It doesn't have any changes on stats or damage or anything. But is it not pay to win if you have a substantially better sight picture? Because for it was really noticeable in Call of Duty World War II because it took up attachment slots to put on a sight.
Put on that. Yep.
So you'd have certain cosmetic, only cosmetically different guns that had way better, better iron sights. And you were like, I don't need to use a sight with this. Like I can use other attachments. This is a huge advantage. Destiny, it's not that extreme, but like, man, certain like exotics have like a clean sight, and you put it on, you're like, this is way easier to use.
I like the Sate 14 ornament on Vigilance Wing.
Yeah,
it's a better sight. It's cleaner than the actual Osiris, the what you call it things blocking your vision
100%.
and stuff like that.
I mean, recently with the Cold Denial, the ornament, they changed it now, but the ornament in the Seasons Pass had like way higher zoom factor. It's just super clean, and it was like, oh well, this is objectively better, right? Like, so I wonder what they're gonna do. At some point, they gotta address that. Maybe they should like try to like keep the parameters of like keep the same amount of stuff on your screen and not have a super clean sight compared to one that's not, because it does matter. It really does.
It does matter. I'm a big fan of them actually with the ornaments just reintroduced, because sometimes I got to be real, at least especially with armor. There's some armor that the functionality of the armor is really good, but it's ugly as hell. And I'm like, as a warlock, we got a style, baby. So I need put it for example. I don't use this one too much, but the ornament to the stag. You ever see that one?
Oh,
that one is fire.
I know,
the second one.
The perk freaking sucks. Like, when you're dead or something, you'll put out a rift, and it's like, thanks.
Exactly. I know. It's a useless
white
one.
Flagging over there. I'm okay. Come save me.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
But it's just like
over here, dead. There's a rift near me. You can find me next to my rift. That didn't help.
Find me next to that dead rift. But I just love when there's exotics that definitely give you that extra oomph to use it because it looks better now. You know what I'm saying? So that's always like.
Well, now with transmog, dude, it's gonna be wild with transmog. Like, really, any armor is gonna be open, and you can just like as soon as that comes in season 13, I think it is, or maybe a little bit after. It's like, dude. That's crazy. I can just have a whole Trials of Osiris get up and not, have to worry about putting on ornaments and all this stuff. I think it's dope.
Do you think at that point they've got to do something at that point, if they're ever going to do any revamp to armor, whether it be like mods or stats mattering or anything like that? Because then if you have like a set that you like the way it looks, either the new armors that drop from new activities have to be absolutely fire for you to want to go get them because you can make yourself look like all the cool old stuff. Or they got to give you a reason to get like new armor and put that stuff on there. I'm just kind of curious when transmog comes, then what's your incentive to be like, well, hey, here's this new season armor. Be like, dude, I look like a boss over here and I'm already good. Like, what's the point? So I'll kind of be curious how they balance that equation.
I think the simple answer to that is like, if you look at how they're changing the armor where they have a legacy mod slot and then they have a combat mod slot from like Season of Dawn down to, I think it includes Beyond Light for the light empowered stuff and the Warmind Cell stuff. So potentially, if they just have a different, like a year 4 mod slot, and it goes from season 13 to Witch Queen, and all that applies like mods from that year, right? And so every year you have an incentive to get some good stat roll armor because they can equip certain yearly mods.
Yep.
Right.
And so it's not as intense of a breakdown of like when it was every season. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do love, and I'm looking forward to the exotic slot. Sorry, having exotics finally having the damn seasonal mod, right? They're supposed to be adding that. That is huge.
That changes everything. Like,
yes,
I mean, oh my goodness, that changes everything. Because often if you're making a really like a pure Warmind Cell build, you had to not even put on an exotic because you're like, dude, I need Power of Rasputin or whatever. Now, you can put it on, and man, bro, that's gonna be huge.
I got my builds, bro. I got my Lucent Blades, my supercharged.
Charge with light
I got a lot of fire builds.
That's
Charge
gonna,
with light,
Charge with light's gonna have some fun times with it as well.
100%, yeah.
What else we got?
I mean, that's mostly it. Honestly, it's like we always have a lot of stuff to cover and we blow through it. And if we have no topics, we get off on tangents. But we also got to respect this man's time. He's got some stuff to go do. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I do want to wrap this one up. I did want to ask one more question. This is kind of what we'll wrap it up. What is one thing you hope to be surprised by in Beyond Light?
The Cackington.
Rick Cackington III.
I want the raid weapons to be unique. I want it to go back to where we have in what's it called? Wrath of the Machine weapons, where you had Focus Firefly, you had Steel Medulla, and the Fourth Time's the Charm or whatever it was called.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
And those were Triple Double, and you had those were perks you could only get on those specific raid weapons.
Preach it.
Absolutely.
And right now, like with the Garden of Salvation raid weapons are boring. They're so boring. And I want to go back to that where it's like, maybe at some point, if they're on the raid weapons, they can be added into the world loot pool at a later time or whatever.
Right.
That's okay. But at least initially, I want to see some actual uniqueness within the raid loot.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
could not agree more. Yeah.
On fire, brother. So we've been preaching that for the longest. I completely agree with you. That's what made Wrath of the Machine so cool. And one of my favorite raids from a reward standpoint. There was probably no raid better. And I also think about things like, obviously we have the pinnacle weapons that are going away, but think about something like Redrick's Broadsword that has a cool perk like Desperado. So now nothing can get Desperado. Like, how cool would it be to introduce that into a raid weapon or some new perks in there? So now you incentivize legendary raid weapons. The problem, they have been too focused. They've been too focused on. I know, right? My joint just went crazy.
Actually, hold on. Speaking of focus, advanced.gg, you make sure you use code KHD. Let's send this man some love. There you go.
Let's go.
Out of nowhere, out of left field, dude.
That segue is like champion style. Anyways, continue.
That was smooth, sir. No, I feel like, as much as I love Divinity, 1K, and all that, and Anarchy, it's dope. That should always still be in there. But again, it shouldn't be the only farmable thing that I'm going after. I should be like, when I get a raid weapon, it should be intrinsically have something like that no other weapon has.
Yeah, it should be better than your basic strike weapons, like easily.
Factual.
Especially, it didn't matter as much when it was Forsaken had a raid, then Season of the Forge had a raid,
right?
And then it was
now we got that
lots
gap.
of raids. Yeah, exactly. If it's like one new raid a year, Vault of Glass is coming, but still, if it's one big raid for the whole year, that raid better have some desirable loot that it really is going to last a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What about you,
shout out to Vagabondo. I just got a shout about. He said, did you have to do that for Kackis to fill the guest spot? Yes, contractual. It was contractual, sir.
That was his writer. That was his writer for the podcast. He's like, we got to get a shout out, man. Got to do it.
We had to put 2 plugs in, reference Chick Kackis, and then get that popping. That was part of the contract.
Yeah, those are my requirements.
No, I have more focus over here than I should. So I was like, believe me, I rep it all the time, but we got him on here, so I may as well give him some love.
No, so your question, E?
No, I was going to say, what about you? What surprise were you hoping for?
Narrative, man. Narrative beats. Cohesive connections to the next season. I want cool stuff. I think they're going back to the original Destiny vision, which is dope. But I just want this thing, the payoffs to be smooth, us to be on the edge of our seat. Because look, people, Destiny has no story. Destiny has great story. Unfortunately, it's like buried in stuff that, you can't find or it's all out of the game. But when it's done right, man, there's moments. And I think they have potential to have some moments. So I'm looking forward to that in the payoffs. And hopefully Osiris can get up off the floor and handle his business. That's what I'm about.
For sure.
You just want Osiris to not look like a chump by the end of this thing.
Just to get my man back to greatness. Thank you.
My favorite meme was like going and when it was your ghost talking, it's like, Osiris, one of the most powerful guardians of all time. Smash cut to him just being like smacked to the ground. I was like, oh my God.
I got to hold this L.
That was perfect. Yeah, that was amazing. For me, honestly, it was one of those things like we're getting a brand new destination, a whole new planet to mess with. We get Cosmodrome. We got Prophecy in Season of Arrivals, which was a giant surprise. But as much as I love dungeons, I want a surprise dungeon.
Come on, E.
Let's do it.
Come on. You gotta space. You get the raid. You gotta space it out.
I agree. It's dungeon and raid. Do it. Let's go, baby.
Dungeons are some of the best stuff. Dungeons are some of my favorite stuff in this whole game.
Oh no, dungeons are fire.
What if there's a Deepstone Crypt dungeon too, and it takes place like it maybe like it goes like a different way than the raid or something like that.
Yeah, there's a sign, turn left for the raid, turn right for the dungeon.
Yeah, dude, that's correct.
Now dungeon, now whoever's gonna check, dungeon unlocked after the raid.
Yeah, see, that would be cool. Same way Shattered Throne did that. Like, again, I'm with you though, for sure, Cognito.
I'm with Scarrow. Continue.
This past year would have been much less painful.
Said, I'd rather save a dungeon for a season with no raid, because my thing is, we know the middle seasons be trash. Put the dust, don't front pack everything.
I think Vault of Glass is going to be in that dead season in spring. That's
one of those seasons is going to have Vault.
That would be a good
idea. One season with a dungeon, and this way we kind of make it,
The big difference is you pay $40 for this expansion, you pay $10 for the other season.
Exactly.
So if you're gonna there's a reason they pack all the content into one season.
Down in the chat.
Oh, come on, see Scarrow.
See, there we go. Thank you. See, Scarrow and I think alike. I got you, man. I got you.
See, you was on fire, then you had to do that. I supported your raid videos when you was doing the music tracks, man. Don't do that, Scarrow. Yeah. Continue.
All right, now that's all I got, though. We got to let this man get out of here and wrap up. So before we go, Kackis, the platform is yours. Tell everybody who sees and hears this thing, what do you got coming, where they can find you? I could tell most of them, but dude, this one's yours. You got a lot of places where they can find you. So
not really. Where you can find me? YouTube. Just KackisHD on YouTube. And I guess I got a Twitter as well, at Rick Kackis. Pretty useless. It's just for memes. And what am I doing? Beyond Light stuff when it happens. That's basically it.
There's a podcast out there that you do as well, sir.
Come on, there's some cool dudes you got a podcast with.
It's sponsored too, isn't it?
It's sponsored by Advanced GG, baby. Yeah, you can also
Advanced GG, baby.
Every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Basically, we talk about what platform MTash got banned on recently, and
shout out to Tash.
Fantastic.
We gotta get the Tash on, man. Tell the Tash to holler at us, man. We gotta get the Tash on.
He's too busy living in his mansion made of Ferraris from freaking what's it called?
He's got Ferraris. You got Lamborghinis. One of the two.
Oh, dude, Tash has got a mansion made out of Lamborghinis after he did that Genshin Impact stuff. My man's popping off.
Yo, he balling.
He blew up. That's awesome.
Yeah, the podcast has been a ton of fun because, oh man, just whatever. Twitch every week does something so dumb that we get to talk about, and it's just they just never disappoint. They're just a content factory for us, and it's amazing.
No doubt, man. Salute to Cack, pulling up always. And
I should mention. It's called the Real Gamer Hour Podcast. I don't think I've said that yet. Probably should.
Yes. Real Gamer Hour Podcast. That's the YouTube too, right there, sir?
Yeah.
That's the name of it. There you go, man. Catch that. Fantastic. Also, shout out to True Vanguard and all of them. And yo, dude, your content, one of the best content creators in the game, Rick Kackis. Mad respect for you, mad love. And one thing, I gotta shout you out, because one thing I like about Cack, he's one of the realists, bro. Like some content creators can get a little Hollywood. Now my man, he's always been real. 100%, and I have so much. Yo, he said, "Yo, I ain't say that, Tash. That was your man."
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was just clearing his throat. I heard nothing.
Being around a lot of content creators, like you sense the genuineness. One of the realists. I remember we met back, was it 2018 or whatever it was we met, and we just kicked it, and the vibe was dope. So salute to you, your continued success. I see you moving and grooving out here. Always a pleasure, sir.
I appreciate that.
You know. And for me, Lord Cognito on Twitter, all that good stuff. Iron Lord Podcast on Sundays, the Lord's Day. And check us out this week. We're going to have Brandon Tyrell from IGN. We're going to get it popping with him, talk what's going on in the industry, talk about all the craziness with Halo Infinite, the shakeups, and stuff like that, and PS Plus, new next generation consoles. So check us out Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, Iron Lord Podcast on YouTube, on Twitch, and of course, lordsofgaming.net. Appreciate the support. The site is growing. Really got the love. And you know about that Last Word Podcast with me and my man E. You already know what time it is with that. So what's up, E? Where they can find you at?
Me, Ebontis everywhere. It's easy. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. You can find me on all of them. Basically, kind of, fill in this last little 10 days until we all lose our mind on November 10th, basically, and we don't get to sleep anymore. I mean, that's the thing. Anybody who covers video games in any aspect of journalism, content creation, streaming, nobody's sleeping, so they're just kind of taking a chill right now, and that's what we're all going to be doing. So Beyond Light is going to be exciting. But sir, Rick, thank you very much for coming on. It is an absolute pleasure. Every time we always have a blast. But yeah, for this episode, thank you guys very much. We got to get this man to the rest of his evening for episode number 126, October 30th. It has been
the last word.